welcome to today's meeting. Thank you for being here and taking out the time from all your schedules. My name is Akanksha, and I'm representing the Migrant Career Support Trust. Usually, all our meetings are held and hosted by our chair, Gary Gupta, who has had a medical procedure recently, so he's not available today. So I'm stepping in today. I'll start with a little bit about the trust. It was started in June 2019 and it aims to help migrants carve a successful career path for themselves here in New Zealand. As a trust, we are concerned with the issues of our migrant communities, especially their career journey. We strive to support migrants by providing information, guidance, and upskilling opportunities to settle into mainstream careers here in New Zealand. In the past 3 years, the Trust has conducted over 20 physical and online events while creating important partnerships with key stakeholders and developing a community of over 1,000 migrants who have benefited from these events. The greater mission of the Trust is to achieve social equity, inclusion, and social cohesion through better economic integration of the migrant workers and people from ethnic communities in the New Zealand society. Now, today's topic is professional email writing. As professionals who are living and constantly wanting to achieve new heights in our careers here in a new country, New Zealand, it's important for us to know how to create the right impression. A cover letter or an introductory email can impress your potential employer. And today we have someone who is just the right person for this topic. So today's speaker is a journalist, a researcher, an educator, Dr. Paula. She's an experienced communication and industry research specialist. She has over 20 plus years of extensive experience in journalism. A little bit about Dr. Paula. She completed her PhD at the University of Auckland in 2014 on digital activism among urban Indian women Facebook users. She got her last master's degree on international communication from the University of Leeds in UK. Her first master's was on political science from the University of Calcutta in India. Before returning to academics, she was a senior journalist in India and the UK, a passion she currently pursues from New Zealand as well with her initiative called migrantnews.co.nz. It's a news portal which is of, by, and for all migrants who have called New Zealand their home. A published author of several academic and journalistic articles, Paula has also published an e-book titled Ethnicities at the Crossroads of Culture. As a career journalist, she was instrumental in the launch of 2 leading dailies in Mumbai and Pune. And later she became the London correspondent for several media publications in India, including CNN, IBN, and Femina, and Deccan Herald, alongside performing as the production manager for a credit industry B2B publication called Credit Today. In New Zealand, she worked as associate editor of Indian Weekender, a weekly for the daily Indian community. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of...
Sorry?
Yeah, sorry about that. So where was I? Yeah, in New Zealand, she worked as associate editor of Indian Weekender, a weekly for the Kiwi Indian community, even as she continues to write for BBC and Forbes magazine on NZ-related news and features. After gathering considerable teaching and research experience at the University of Auckland across the schools of social sciences, business, and engineering, Paula moved to private tertiary education as a senior lecturer and research manager at Aspire 2 International, Auckland. She also coordinated courses and lectured for Massey University in the School of Communication, Journalism and Marketing. Currently, she manages 5 postgraduate programs for the ICL Education Group and supervises master's thesis. Paula has moved from Calcutta to Leeds, Mumbai to London, Pune to Auckland within a span of 7 years and has called each city her home. Today, she considers herself a Zingara. Is that right, Paula? I'm not sure about the pronunciation. Italian for gypsy women, with a global palette for creativity. So after that very celebratory introduction, now it's all over to you, Dr. A. Let's get right to it.
Thank you so much, Akanksha. That was a bit too much. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I I don't know where all you have joined us from, but it's a big pleasure. It's a great pleasure to be part of this workshop. I can see some known names, so thank you so much. It also makes me a bit awkward to talk to you because I already know you in other, in other professional areas. So yes, like Akanksha mentioned, today's topic is on how to write a professional email. So I think I'll begin by sharing my screen. Okay, I hope you can see me.
Yes, it's visible to us.
Okay, I'll just make it bigger. Right. So I'll begin today's topic by asking two questions. First is, what is an email? I want the session to be interactive, so please speak up. It'll be really good if you also can have your videos on, but if not, at least please speak up. So what is an email?
So I think so. Email is the electronic form of communication instead of the ordinary mail. So electronic, when we send a letter by electronic medium, so it's called email. I think so.
That's right. Thank you, BT. I just recognized you.
Oh, I was wondering, it is same Paula Ray or different Paula Ray?
It
But
is
now,
the same person. Yeah, we play badminton. Yep.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you, BT. Any other responses?
I think so. We use email because it is faster and easier to communicate, and taking less time means the fractions of seconds. We can communicate with each other.
Yeah, it's time efficient. Yeah, that's
time.
yeah. Okay, thank you so much again. So to me, what is an email? I would say yes, it's an electronic, mail. But what is a mail? A mail is written or a mail is sent to what is the purpose behind it? To convey a message, right? So when we are, so the main purpose of using an email is to convey our message. And I'd like you to also think about, when we are trying to convey a message, not even via an email or a handwritten letter, just think about conveying a message to your friend, to the person next to you. Do you actually just randomly start talking? Or do you take a few seconds to put your thoughts together and then you convey your message, right? So I believe, or any communication, practitioner would believe that whenever we are trying to convey a message, our audience is of utmost importance rather. So we need to understand who our audience is. Are we trying to give this message to a 5-year-old child? Are we trying to send a message to our colleague who we work with? Or are we trying to give this message to our grandparents or to our, spouses? So, each time the audience is different, the way we convey the message also becomes different. Okay, so the purpose and the audience of the message are very important. Okay, so that is, no matter if it's an email or a letter, it's the same way we use that medium of communication. All right. So, but today, since we are focusing on emails only, I will try to only talk about emails and also talk about how to write a professional email, in the professional workplace, not something that we would send to our family or our friends. All right. So what do you think of these two emails? I have tried to, black out the more personal parts. But what do you think of these emails? Again, interactive session. I want everyone. Yeah. Yes, VT.
Yeah, actually, first email, good morning, and it should be good morning to Julia. It should be good morning, Julia, and then
Why should it be good morning, Julia?
it's sorry, to whom it to Catherine. Okay, good morning, Catherine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To the
So
receiver. Yeah. Mm.
yeah, to the receiver, and
Mm.
that part is I think so
Mm.
missing here, and we have put this position. And that's all. Yeah. And the second one, no subject, and that is very bad actually.
Mm-hmm.
Without subject. Yeah. And hi dear. Can't say anything about this. Why it is hi dear? So if it is somebody Gagandeep sent to Paula Ray, so it should be hi Paula if she is well known to her, him, or something like that. And that's all I can give.
Thank you. That's really good. It's really great that you spotted the fact that Julia has not addressed anyone in the email. Yes. And also the fact that the second email does not have any subject. And also it's very informal. Hi, dear, and
It's
then.
not, yeah, it's not case sensitive or anything. It's just, it could
Yes.
be any email to anyone. It
Mhm.
doesn't say anything about it.
I also want you to focus on the contents of the emails. What is the first email about?
It's regarding job application.
Yeah. And what is the email saying? Why is Julia writing this email?
It's a rejection email.
Exactly. So do you see any problem with that? This is a rejection email.
It
And
doesn't really specify. I mean, it is trying to say that we have rejected you without saying those very words. And also, I mean, I would have really kind of explained, why they chose somebody else over these candidates, perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps a bit more detail would have
Yes.
helped the applicants understand what was wrong, with their app, or rather, why they were not selected. Yes, very good point. Thank you, Neha. Any other problem with the first email?
Doesn't have the designation of the person writing the email.
Oh,
Maybe?
I just blanked that out. That was there.
Oh, sorry.
Organization. Yeah, but good spotting. Yes, absolutely good spotting. But there is a really grave error with this email. This is an email that can take this organization to court.
Oh, it is not used BCC.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Neha.
Thank you.
So the biggest problem is this is a rejection email for a job application. And here, whoever, Julia Roberts is also not the person who wrote this email, but that's a fictional name. But that person the sender has named all the receivers in the main to option in the email. Okay, so they have not used the blind carbon copy or BCC that we use to block out the names of the receivers. So this is a sensitive email. Any of these people, Catherine, Emily, Tufan, Divya, any of them could actually take Julia Roberts and her organization to court because this is a breach of privacy. No one wants to know when they get a rejection, right? It's a very private matter. No one wants to know. No one wants anyone else to know where they're applying for jobs also, in the professional world. So yes, that is a very big And this is a genuine email that, someone just forwarded to me. So that's how
Really? Someone actually sent that.
the real email, it's not a fictional one. I just blocked out a
I
lot
could say
of other
That is,
information. Yeah.
that is surprising. Yeah.
Very surprising. Yeah. And with the second one, some of you have already pointed out, but do you see any other errors? Yes, there is no subject.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what I did earlier when I was. Yeah, me and Louis was here. We.
Anthony, are you talking to us?
I'm not sure. I think he just muted himself. So probably that was not for us. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So yes, there is no subject. It is very informal. Hi, dear. Again, if you look at the content of the email, what do you think the relationship is between Paula and Gagandeep? It's more like the relationship between a teacher and a student, right? A lecturer and a student, because Gagandeep is talking about not being able to submit their assignment. Would you write "Hi dear" to your lecturer? That is a question, and this is a very common mistake that we come across. And also, it's all in lowercase, and then there are short words, abbreviated words, short forms used. Assignment spelling is wrong. No punctuation used. Okay, so lots of errors with this email. Okay, now let's look at what it should be. So I tried to come up with an acronym, like an abbreviation that would help us understand what is the purpose, rather, why do we write an email? Or rather, when we are writing an email, what are the things we should be careful about? What are the things we should remember? And so I've tried to put them as PAMs. Those of you, I don't know if all of you are from New Zealand or from other places as well. Those of you who are in New Zealand, you will know New World has a brand called PAMs, and it's very easy to remember PAMs. So PAM stands for purpose, audience, message, and structure. Okay, so whenever we sit down to write an email, the first thing we need to focus on is, why are we writing this email? What is the purpose? Okay. Second will be to understand who the audience is. Is it going, do we understand the demography of the audience? Is it going to someone who we already know? Is it going to someone who is unknown to us? All of those things play a role in how we write an email. And the third one is the message that we want to convey. So we need to, if I randomly came here and started talking about, oh, there is PAMS, an acronym I came up with, and it stands for this, and this is a bad email, and this is a good email. After a point, you would start thinking that, what is wrong with Paula? She must be crazy. Okay. So whenever someone talks to us without organizing their message in a way that is understandable to the audience, it just doesn't make any sense to us. So whenever we try to convey a message, we try to think in our mind, okay, we'll start with this, and then we'll talk about this, and this is how we will end it. So we give the message a structure. Okay. So imagine, if you have to ask your friend for a favor, okay, and you don't want to do it. You don't want to ruin the friendship by asking for a favor. What do? You think about, oh, this is how I'm going to start the conversation. And then while we are talking about this, I will bring in this topic. Then I will see what the response is like. If the response is favorable, I'll talk more about it. If it is not, I will withdraw. Okay, so that is how we plan it in our mind. So we always plan the way we communicate our messages. Okay, so the moment we remember PAMS, we know what we need to think about before writing an email. whether it is to someone we know, whether it is to someone who is unknown to us. It helps in either way. Okay, so any questions so far? Otherwise, I'll keep continuing.
All good. Thank you.
Thank you. So what I will do in the next slide, I have tried to add a few more elements to the same PAMS acronym. So other than the purpose of the email, we have to also remember that what we are trying to say has to be in paragraphs and 1 point per paragraph. So that is what I'm referring to as parallel paragraphs. Okay, parallel information given and in the paragraph format. Along with audience, we need to also remember how should we address, how are we addressing, not the hi dear kind of email. That is not a professional email. Or, how Julia Roberts' email was, just a good morning. Not, we need to address the receiver properly. Otherwise, the receiver feels humiliated or offended and they don't want to read the message. They just either delete the email or close their email. Yeah. Now, if an email is always written with a purpose, either you want to give an information to another person, or you want to ask another person to do something. So there is always an action that is required in response to that email. Okay, so when you want someone to act on something, your instructions should always be in an active voice. And the easiest way of getting an active voice when writing is, to me, that is my understanding, is by dropping the ing. Like instead of saying, I was thinking of going to this place, you can say, I am going to this place. Okay, instead of thinking or I am going to do this, just say I am doing this. I will do this. Not even I am doing this. I will do this. Okay, so that makes it, the moment you drop the ing from every verb, your voice becomes more active. When you're giving instructions to someone, if you drop the ing from the verb in the sentence, your sentence will become a lot more active and action-oriented and easier for the receiver to follow. The receiver of the message to follow. And when you are writing your message, especially if it is a longish, complicated message, it is always a good idea to make some of the words bold, write them in a bold font, especially the words, if you are organizing this workshop, you can mention the date, time, and venue of the workshop in bold. So when people just open the email, they know this email is about this workshop. All they will do is just read those words written in bold. Okay. And if it is a series of instructions, it's always good to use bullet points. Okay. So these two things help the reader of the message read the email, read the message more quickly. We all have time constraints. We never have enough time to do everything that we want to do in the course of a day. So it is always, as the writer of the email, it is our responsibility to make sure that the reader of the email does not have to spend too much time reading our emails. Okay. And the last one is structure. Along with the structure, I also added how we sign off. What do we say when we sign off? Do we say, we don't say yours faithfully or yours sincerely anymore. A more accepted form of signing off is kind regards or just regards. Okay, and in New Zealand, we have a different way of, it's a bicultural country, it's a bilingual country. So we try to include Te Reo Māori in official emails. And because we are talking about a professional email, a good way of ending the email or signing off the email will be Nami Nui. If it is to one person, then we write Nami, Namihi. Or if it is to an organization, we write Namihi Nui. Okay, I have that sample, in one of the slides following this. So how we sign off also has an impact on the receiver of the email or the reader of that email. And then what makes our emails more, look more professional is by adding a signature. Do you know how to add a signature to an email? Where you have the sender's name and phone number and all of that detail? Otherwise, we can talk about it after this session. So, on your email, if you go to the settings, there is an option for signature, and you can put in those details. So every time you write an email, those details are automatically added at the bottom of your email. Okay, so we can talk about this in a bit.
Yeah, in case you want us to cover that, you can just mention it in the chat that you would want us to take you through how to create a signature. So then we can address that once we're doing the Q&A session.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you, Akansha. And the final thing is spelling and grammar. So if you have spelling mistakes or grammatical mistakes, there are two things that the receiver of the email thinks about. They think that either you don't know what you're writing about, your language skills are really poor, or they think you just don't care. You can't be bothered. You haven't taken this email seriously. So the best part is if you're using Gmail or you're using Microsoft Office, both of these emails, they have this inbuilt, grammar and spelling checker. So, the moment you get the grammar wrong or the spelling wrong, it underlines the words. So you just click on those words and you automatically get the corrected version. So just spend those extra 10 seconds to just ensure and to make sure that any of the, to check if any of the words are underlined or not, and then just click on them and fix them and then hit send. Okay. What's the next slide? So here is the formula. I hope it doesn't sound too complicated. I have tried to use different colors. So we have the same PAMS, but I have just added a few more elements to each one of them. Okay, even if you just remember PAMS, you will be fine, but it'll be good if you remember 2P, 3A, 1M, 4S. Okay, or maybe write it down somewhere. And then every time you write an email, just make sure, go through that checklist before you send, especially if it is an important email. And then, after the 10th time, you will remember the whole thing. Okay. Right. Now, what is the difference between a work email and a job application? Now, in a work email, the audience is known to you. You know the person who you're writing the email to, right? Because you are working with them. You would be writing them to your colleagues, either your senior colleagues or your junior colleagues or your, team members, but you will know who the audience is. So the message might be a little bit, depending on what message you're trying to send, it can be a little bit, less formal, like a semi-formal message. It can't be informal. It can't be the hi dear address, but you can write it a little bit less formally because you already know that person. So same way, the addressing, who you're addressing the email to can also, how you address the email receiver can also be semi-formal, and your sign-off can also be semi-formal. And you have to make sure that the structure is easy to read, like using the bold fonts, using the bullet points, dividing your message into paragraphs. 1 point per paragraph, all that thing we have to follow because it's a work email. It's not something not a text message that we are writing to our friend. Whereas in a job application, we don't know who the audience is. Okay, so most of the time in a job application, we just see a job advert and we see who we need to address the email to, and we then write this email to this unknown person. Okay, so because that person is someone not known to us, our message becomes even more formal. We don't want to make any mistakes. We don't want to cross any lines. We want to keep it formal. So we also use a formal addressing and a formal sign-off. But the structure remains the same, irrespective of who you're writing your email to. In a professional email, the structure has to be reader-friendly. Okay. Any questions so far? No? Okay, I continue. So this is an email. This is, an email that I put together. I found it very difficult to share publicly, a properly written, professional email. So this is just a concocted one. So the features here that I want you to notice are the fact that there is a subject line. I have tried to use Quora because we are in a bilingual country, and if we are trying to write an email, whether it is to our colleague, to our boss, or to this unknown organization where we want to apply for a job, it'll be good to show that you are aware of the bilingual aspect of the New Zealand culture. Okay, so it's very safe to just write Quora and then the name of the receiver of the email. I have tried to follow the grammar, make no spelling mistakes, starts with an uppercase, ends with a full stop. And then again, I have tried to end with a Te Maori sign-off, Ngā mihi nui, because, the Migrant Career Trust is an organization. There are more than one people. If it was just to Gary, it would have been Ngā mihi. Okay, so this is to the organization. And then I write my name, and this part, the last part of it, is my signature. This is embedded in my email ID, in my email account, not ID, in my email account. And so every time I write an email, I only write up to Paula, and the whole thing comes at one go. Okay. Yeah, so this could be an example of a perfect professional email. What Akanksha had written about. I don't know, nothing is perfect. There is always room for improvement. And also, if you don't have, you should share your phone number if it is an official email. But if you could also share your LinkedIn URL over here, because anything that would give the reader of the email an insight into, helps the reader of the email know who you are, that should be included in your signature. Whatever you want the reader of the email to know about you, you include that over here. Okay, that is your signature. Okay. Here is a short list of what not to do when you write an email. So as we already remember, not to address informally. It can be semi-formal if it is to a colleague, but never informally, not with a professional email. It should always have a subject. Not having a subject makes it very annoying for the receiver of the email because they don't know what is there. And then they start thinking whether it's a spam or, spam email or not. Never have any spelling or grammatical errors. because like I mentioned before, then the receiver of the email thinks that either we don't know what we are talking about or we just don't care. Okay, so both of them are equally dangerous if it's at the workplace, or never ever for a job application. That would be one reason why that our application will never get picked up. Okay, and always it's a good idea to avoid long winding sentences, sentences that go on for 3 lines. Never write them. Always write shorter emails. Never write long paragraphs. Always write short paragraphs, because like I said, everyone has a time crunch. No one ever has enough time to do anything these days, right? And we are so used to reading short messages, our brain has lost that ability to spend time to read and make sense of long sentences or long paragraphs. Okay, so always try to keep them short and precise, like just to the point. And never send an email without a sign off, like the Namihi or the Namihi Nui. Okay. Right. And here are some additional resources that you can, I tried to compress the links. They are links from career.govt. There are links from Grammarly. And then there is another link from a university website. From the US. It's not a New Zealand university. They are just some more tips on how to write a professional email. Thank you so much for your time.
I think that was lovely, Paula. And what I'll do is I'll also paste these links in our chat window so that everyone can then have a look. And so, yeah, we have now everyone who's attended this workshop with us today. We've got Dr. Paula Ray, who's here to answer all your questions. So do not hesitate, just go for it. There's a reaction button at the bottom of your screen through which you can raise your hand to ask a question. So just anyone who has a question, please go for it.
Mr. Gary, it's a wonderful seminar you have done. And like I also attend before the in-person migrant career seminar. Okay. So I just wait for my residency. Once I get my residency, I will again contact to you guys, and I want to find the job in a data analyst.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Gary.
Oh, thank you, Dilip, for attending, and I hope you got some good things out of today. In fact, I just wanted to quickly add, Paula, 2 more tips, if I may say so.
Please add to it.
Just in terms of business and workplace emails, one thing we often migrants I've seen don't follow a simple rule is following the chain of email. So, for example, if your boss has sent you an email and you have to reply to that mail, please try to reply in the same chain of mail, which means do not change the subject line. Okay. If you change the subject line to the other people, it becomes a new and fresh email and they cannot see the past conversations. So this happens in offices very often, where there are maybe around even 10 to 11 emails in just one subject. So that's a very important cardinal rule to follow, that do not break the chain. Also, for online resources, check grammarly.com for any grammar issues and all of that. So before you send out an email, please do double check, triple check, take it through Grammarly. There's nothing worse than a bad email. Especially if you're applying for a job, you may be having the best of qualifications, but the minute your email comes across as in poor English, believe you me, you have lost the opportunity. Mm-hmm. Because please understand, in New Zealand, whichever company you work with, communication is prime. Okay, no matter what area you're working in, whether you are in warehousing or whether logistics, accounts, or even data analytics or whatever, if you cannot communicate to your peers, your colleagues, then the company will not take you in good light. So please, and that's why we have this session today. This is a very important part of your career journey. And thank you, Paula, for all your inputs to this year.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, Grammarly's link is included in one of the 3 links. Yes, I think someone from Tamil.
Why? That's why. Hi, why? So you're muted. Why?
Yeah, you're muted. You will just have to unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. Okay, this
Hello.
was a very, very useful session, which I really enjoyed it. There was one point which I want to mention over here. Like 20 years ago, when I was in a call center working and sending emails, accidentally I put the capital letter and typed it. And I sent it. And I didn't realize the impact of that. Because when you use the capital letter, it's as if they are shouting at people.
Yes.
Yes.
So I just wanted to just mention that
So much,
mistake
yeah.
which I made, that everybody should know that we never write on capital letter. Capital letter means shouting at people.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And I have seen young people have this habit of writing a sentence and suddenly writing one word in all caps. I don't know why they do that. Maybe to emphasize it, but the message is just lost. When the moment you write in all caps, it just means you are shouting that word out or shouting out that instruction to the receiver of the email. Yes,
Yeah.
very good point. Thank you so much, Sai.
Yeah. Thanks, Paula.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ray, for the session. Even I noted some points because we all make mistakes. So when I realized that I don't follow all the rules, I might be following 1 or 2, and especially about signing off the right way and all of that. That those were all very informative and valuable inputs. So I think that is the completion of our session. And as Gary said, we have a year-end event, which is happening on 9th December. This is a celebration of the Migrant Career Support Trust. This is a celebration of all the effort and hard work that we put throughout the year. So it's also got a panel discussion on careers in governance, especially focused on the migrant community and ethnic communities. How should you navigate your way around careers in governance in New Zealand? And we've got a career clinic program running. If you visit our website, you'll find out further details about it. Some of you are recognizable names from that program. So what that program does is it offers one-on-one career consultations to people. So we've got experts on board and candidates, and you have 3 free sessions with these experts who can answer all your customized problems. Like, you might not have problems that someone else has. And this is where this one-on-one time comes in. So, so the year-end event, it's happening in Auckland. It's happening on 9th of December from 6 to 8 p.m. All the details are there on our website, on our Facebook. I'll just leave the registration form here. So you can sign up for it, and we'll send you all the details closer to the date. And everyone, please have a lovely evening and a lovely weekend. And yeah, anything else that Gary or you, Paula, would like to say?
I'd like to thank you. Thank all the people who attended this session. It was my pleasure to deliver this workshop. Thank you, Gary and Akansha.
Thank you, Paula. I also wanted to just thank Paula for taking out time for this session, and such great, gems of wisdom you've shared with us. So I've also learned a bit. Secretly, I was taking notes. So thank you, Paula, for that. And also thank you to all of you for, taking out time attending this. I hope you, take some good points out of this, and it helps you in your real life. Also, please do help us in, spreading the word about our the workshops that we do. If you have any family friend, any person in your family who needs any kind of support, do forward them our just website. All our resources are there. and they can sign into our events. You never know, you may be changing someone's life by just, giving them the way to, get help and support. So let's do that. And this is what we do this for. We help each other and help each other to grow. That's it. Thank you so much from my side. And thank you, Kanksha, for a lovely job done today.
Thank you. Thank you all.